Hello, all. Welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1,000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. So we are going to see local storage CRUD with Angular 19. So why local storage CRUD? Correct. So if you are learning Angular now, or if you are in the that interview zone, so some companies, let's say mid scale or small scale, they will ask you to, after you clear the first round of interview, they will ask you to create a CRUD application. Sometimes they will provide you the API. Sometimes they will ask you to do the same with JSON file or local storage. Because in local storage, you need to write that logic for inserting, updating, and delete and everything. So they want to check, like, are you able to write that logic? Because with API, we don't have to do anything. API will does that work for us. But in local storage, we are the one who have to write that code to insert, update, delete, and everything. Correct? Now, so what we are going to use? We will use obviously go with template form, control flow statement. Also, we are going to use somewhat property binding, validation, and the local storage CRUD. Fine. So let's create a project. So this is the folder I have created. Inside that, let's create a project. So I will be opening a command prompt over here, cmd ng new my project name. So I have created the repository with the same name. Let me get the repository name. So this is my repository name. With this name only, I will be creating the project. My project name. Once you enter, it will ask two questions. Do you like which CSS framework you want to go with? I'm simply saying going with CSS. Do you need a server-side rendering? So I will say no. I will just stop this now because I don't let create with a node module folder again and again. But in your case, you don't have to stop. You let that process happen. Fine. Now, I just need to let me just bind the node module folder. So what I need to do, I need to open a command prompt. This thing you don't need to do because I am don't so many projects I create. So I cannot have so much node module folder in my PC, right? So I create a shortcut of that node module folder. So D cd angular 19 cd local storage. Let me just get the command node. So this is that command which will create the shortcut of node module. Enter. So now you can see node module has been successfully created. Let's open this project into VS Code. So let's open a new instance of VS Code. You can create the same project from VS Code also, right? Open a folder. This is the folder which we have to use. Now, in my reusable, in my node module, I have already installed that bootstrap and everything. So I can use the bootstrap like this in my angular.json. Fine. So bootstrap I'm using. In package.json also I need to add the entries because this code I will be pushing to the repository. So in package.json I will add this. If you in your case you will be just installing the bootstrap. Just open a new terminal npm i bootstrap. It will install the bootstrap for you. Fine. So basic thing we have done. Now, so just a single page application, right? We are just going to do a simple CRUD application. So we are not going to need so many components, but just for keeping our code separate, we will create a user component. So scenario which we are going to take is, let's use the bootstrap form. Just to save the time, I'm using the bootstrap form. So in this portal, they have a bootstrap form. What do we say? Validation. Docs. Wait, what is this site? Let's open another one. Yeah, I think their site also got changed. Examples. This is getbootstrap.com. This form, I need the form where we will get a basic form created already, so that I'm searching for that. Validation. Yeah, so this was the form I was talking about. So I need this form. So let's copy this. Fine. So in app component, in app folder, we have by default we get app component, correct? So either we can make use of the app component also, or you can create new component also, because in a single component we are going to do all the operation. So instead of creating, let's use this one. Fine. So let's everything what we get. Now here I will create the row column structure. So what I will does, I will create row. Inside that row, let me just first complete the UI. Anyway, whenever you are starting for the CRUD operation or anything, now first step should be complete your UI. Then once your UI is completed, now then you can imagine like where you need to do what, correct? So call 12. Inside call 12, I will have a card. I'm using card structure, card hyphen header dot bg warning. Inside that again row, call 6. Let me just complete the UI, then you will be able to understand what we are going to achieve. Let's say user list, and we will need second column also again. And here we will have add text end class. And here we will have a button, btn. When you are designing the UI, now you should imagine also how it is going to look. So your development speed likewise increase. Card hyphen body. Now we got this structure, same structure I will copy paste again. And here we will have new user. And here we will have that form, the bootstrap form. So let's copy this. And this form will be over here. And here, so in the first button, we will have add new user button. And in second card, we will have close or go to list or list view. Fine. Let's just save if how UI is coming now. Localhost for, oh, we didn't run the project. Let's run the project. So just open the terminal. Why it is saying, okay, somewhere @ symbol might be there. Instead of it, what it is saying, we can use this thing. Fine. Go to terminal. Now ng serve. This is how you will run the project. Once it compiles, it will run on localhost 42:4200. This is the by default port where on which port it will run. It's compiled now. It's not. Yeah. So you can see we have got two card. In the first card, we need to show the table. Instead of table now, we will use card. See, whenever company asks you to complete the machine test, they won't provide you the UI every time. They will just provide the scenario and like that you need to do. Now everyone is going to use that table to show the record. Sometimes use the card also, because when we work on the industrial application now, we mostly use card also to showcase the list. Fine. So that is how you can, means apart from your other candidate, there will be something unique into you, right? So now in the user list, we will be using card. But one more scenario, at a time, at least my card will be visible or my form will be visible. So now here we are going to use control flow statement. So hide and show we are going to do. Fine. So we have two rows, two column we have. At a time only one column will be visible. So for that, what I will does, let's open it side by side. Here we will create a variable is new user. Data type will be Boolean. By default, I'm making it true or false. Fine. So we have created a normal variable in with Boolean data type. Now this variable, I will be using it over here to hide and show. So at the @ round bracket, if this variable is true, sorry, this will be with false. So first div is for our list. So if this variable is false, we will render this div. Inside this div, we will have our, what do we say? Card for the list. And in else, we will render our form div. So let's move it over here. So by default, this variable is false. So see now, we are able to see only the card for the list. And okay, if we change this variable to true, see form is visible. Now let's just make it dynamic also. We need a function change view. What we will do, we just need to change the value of this variable. It's a boolean value, so we can make vice versa. So this dot is new user is equal to not of this dot is new user. Fine. Now this function I need to call over here also. I will be going a little bit fast because we need to cover so many things. And same function I need to call over here also. Fine. Let's just save and check. Now we should be able to toggle. See, right? So on this button, we are able to toggle the view. Now, so first we need to complete the CRUD operation. Means first we need to store the data into the local storage. So this is our form. So whenever we have to do the CRUD operation now you form like what fields we are going to have in our object, that is we can decide. In machine test, they will also provide sometimes or they will not. So you can decide your help, right? So let's say first name, last name, username, city, like that object we will create. So we will create interface for that. So since we just have one component, so we will create interface over here. So what will be interface or class? Let's go with class. A class user. What things we have like that we will create. First name, last name, username. So let's create f name. Data type will be string. L name. Data type will be string. Username. Data type will be string. Whenever you are appearing for the machine test, now make sure you create a class or interface and everything. Never use any. Fine, because again they will judge you on that code also what you are writing. It's not just you complete the machine test. You have to create a proper code also, right? State, string, zip code, colon string, and we have some checkboxes also there, na? Is agree. So let's say is agree. This will be boolean. So we have created class. So on every variable, we are getting error, right? So we need to initialize all the properties. Sorry, here needs semicolon. So all the property we need to initialize. So it's a class, so we can have an access to the constructor, correct? See, this class I have created after this class. Don't create this inside, okay? Otherwise, create a extra class and there you can create this. Now, this, okay, we need one more property also, user ID. That will be unique something with data type number. Sorry. Fine. All the property we need to initialize. So this dot user ID is equal to 0. This dot fname is equal to empty. All the properties we have to initialize with basic initialization, whatever you think. False. This dot last state is equal to empty. If you want to initialize your form with some basic value, here you will do that. What's the meaning? City only. So now you can see all the properties we have properly initialized. So we have created class. Now, inside component, we need to create an instance of our class. So user obj data type user is equal to, since it's a class, so we have to make use of new operator to initialize it like this. Fine. So we have created our class, and that class we have provided over here as the data type. Now this object we are going to bind to our form. So we are going to use ng model template form. So we need to import forms module. Fine. Now, so this is the text box. So here we need to write square bracket, round bracket, ng model equal to what we are going to bind, user object dot. So see, after dot, you can see IntelliSense is also working. That's because you have provided the proper data type instead of any, right? So here we will be binding f name. Now on every text box, we need to bind it. So what I will does, I will search this and I will replace that with this. So I don't have to copy paste. This will save my development speed, correct? Now this will be just repeated. So let's remove it. Now here, last name, here, username we have to bind. Here city will be there. Then here it was a drop down. So let's manually do it. This will be state. Let's add some basic step. Choose. Let's add some option over here. Let's say Maharashtra. Goa. Punjab. Instead of doing this hard code, you can create an array also. Then that array you can bind it over here also. That is also fine. Here zip code. And here is agree, the last checkbox. Let's save. So we have created our object. That object we have binded to our form also. Let's see if we get an error. We should get an error. Let me show you that. So if you go to the console, you can see we are getting this error. If ng model is within the form tag, name attribute is mandatory. So if you are using ng model inside a form tag, see, we have a form tag. So on all the property, wherever you are using ng model, the name attribute is mandatory. This. Okay. So let's quickly do this also. And whatever the property you are binding 9ng model, that same property you need to bind it over here. And over here also. You just change this properties like that. Zip code, state, city, uname, lname. Now if I save, see, now we don't have any error. Now, so on click of save, now we have to store the data to the local storage. So where do we have the local storage? In application and local storage over here. So currently you can see it's empty. Local storage has a key value pair data, key and whatever the value you want to store, right? So now on click of save, so this is the submit, right? So button, click on save. Let's create this function. Fine. Now on click of save, what you need to do, you need to store the data, means your object into local storage. It's very simple. Local storage dot set item. But local storage, if you see, this local set item function needs two parameter, key and the value, both has the data type string. So in local storage, we can store string type of data only. So just provide the key, Angular 19 user and value. Now we have an object, right? But in local storage, we are going to create multiple user. Na? So we cannot store object. We need to store whole array. So for that, let's create array also. So user list. Again, user list will be of data type user only, but it will be array. Let's initialize with empty. Now, whenever we have to save the data, first we need to check if the user list is empty or not. So why I'm saying like that, if here we need to write the check, if this dot user list dot length is equal to 0, means this is the first time you are going to save the record. So what you need to do, this dot user list dot push or unshift, whatever method you want to use, that you will use. Then user object, you need to push it over here. Fine. So here you are going to store the object into your array. And now that this array you need to save to the local storage. But remember, we can store string type of data. So to convert array into string, we have to use json.stringify method, and you need to pass your array. So what this will does, this will store the data into your local storage. Fine. So if this check we are adding just to check if user is already there in the local storage or not. And on the page load, we need to read the local storage data also. So let's implement lifecycle event, that is on init. On init ng on init. So see, on click of save, we are storing the data into this key by converting it to string. But when we read the data, again, we need to convert it back to the object form, array format. So local data, local storage dot get item. Fine. So now this is our key. So this key will go over here. Whenever we read the data from the local storage, we need to add a null check if local data is there or not. Not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, we have to convert that data again into the array format. So this dot user list is equal to JSON dot parse method is there, which will convert string data into whatever the data originally it was. This local data, we will pass it over here. So what will happen on the page load, we will first read the data from the local storage and then we are assigning it to over here. Okay. Now we might not need this step also because in this variable, we will get the data. Yeah. So let's remove this. We won't need this. Fine. So let's save and check. Let's add a debugger over here also. One more tip, whenever you are writing the code for the first time, always add a debugger and see what data you are getting, correct? Let's see now. So you can see on the page load, we got the debugger. Currently in the application local storage, we don't have any data. So now you see in local data, we will get null. That's why we have to add a null check. Because if the data is not, if the value with this key is not present in the local storage, we will get it null. So if it is null, we are not doing anything. Fine. Now, so here, let's try to enter the data. Chetan, Zogi, Chetan 3344, just a username I'm passing. City, Pune, state, let's say Maharashtra, zip 112233, and is agreed term true. Have we added the debugger? Yes. And on click of submit, you can see our function got executed. Now let's see. If you see the user object, see whatever the data we have filled in the form, that data we have got in the object with respect to field. Now this object we are going to push to our array. Currently it's empty. See, now in user list we have the array. Now this array we are going to push store to the local storage by converting into the string format. So once I run this line, and if you go to the application, see over here we got the data. By looking at it, it's look like we have stored the object, but it's in string format. Fine. Now even if you reload, in the application still data is visible. Okay, let's reload one more time. So on the page load we have written the code to read the local storage data. See, now it is not null because in the local storage we have data. So if it is not null, see, we have got the string format data. Now if we convert it, see, we got the array. Okay, so save part is done. Now we have to move to the update part. But when we are doing the save now, in the object, you remember we have got user ID. So here we will just update the user ID. So this dot user object dot user ID is equal to, we every time we need something unique. So what we will be unique? We just need to compare the length dot length plus one. So we will just increment it one by one every time. So in every user you will create, you will get user ID something unique. Fine. Now this user ID, we are getting the user list over here. So that user list we will showcase over here in the card format. Let's go to Bootstrap and let's search for the card. Where do we have card? Yeah, so this card we are going to use. We don't have any image. Let's try. Yeah, so this card we will use. So let's copy this. Now we have in user list, we got all the users created that we need to showcase over here. So we will use @for loop. On which for variable we are going to iterate? User list. Now inside that, wait, before that now we need to create row dot row, and this for loop will be inside row. I need to repeat my column. So let's say call 3 I will use. So in one row I will maximum show 4 column. Fine. Now, so let's copy this card again. Copy. We will paste it over here. Now over here we need to show the we have first name and last name, but while displaying we will concatenate both the things. So item dot, where it is, fname space, again curly braces, item dot last name. So full name we have shown over here. Then over here we can show email ID, item dot username we will show. Here we can show what else we have, item dot, we can show city also, comma, state, and pin code also, zip code. Fine. Let's just save and check if we are able to show the data properly. So if we go to the list view, see the record is visible now. Okay. Now let's try to create one more record. So in the first user, we have got user ID 0. So yeah, let's try now. Let's say Rahul. Just dummy data I'm passing, Mumbai. State, again Maharashtra. Some dummy mobile number, zip code. On click of save, data will get saved. Okay, now here we have to check. So user ID should be 1, 2. So because currently we have one record now, 1 plus 1. So 2 we have got, and user ID we are pushing. So now if you check the local storage, see we have got 2 record. Let's go to the list view. So now you can see 2 records are visible. Even if we refresh, still we will get the 2 record available. Okay, by default, why it is coming? Yeah, so we need to make it false. So now by default, list view will be visible. Fine. So 2 things we have done. We are able to create the record and we are able to read the record also. Now we are moving towards the next thing, edit and the update. So in the card, we have these 2 links. So here we will add edit and the delete link. So here we will say edit, and we need to remove this href, otherwise it will have that color. Text hyphen success, just a class I'm adding. Fine. Now, just a tip, whenever you are appearing for the machine test, always use font awesome or something. Instead of directly showing the edit now, it will be better if you show icon over here. So just install font awesome and use their icon also. Fine. Edit. Now on click of edit, what we need to do, on click of edit, we need to change our view also, and whatever the record we have, that should get populated over here. Okay. So for that, let's write event. So click on edit. So now whole data means our whole object we are going to get in the item. So that we will pass it over here. Let's create this function. Now this function, when we are calling, we are passing the data also. So let's catch that data. Data, what type of data we are going to get? User only. Now this data we have to assign to our user object like this. Fine. So, and we just need to call this function again because we need to toggle our view also. Na? So this function we will again call. Let's just save and test this. If I click on edit, you see we are able to see the Rahul detail. Again, let's go back. If I click on edit, see Chetan detail are visible. So we are able to click on edit and everything. Now, if we are on the edit mode, here we need to show the update button. So how you will know that, what do we say, user, we are in the edit mode and or the update mode based on the user ID. If user ID is 0, okay, let me just change this first user ID. Otherwise it will get come. So if we are in the new mode, user ID will be 0. And if we are creating new, if we are updating new record, we will get the user ID. Let me show you that. So where it will be. So at the bottom, what I will does, let me just print the user ID. Just pay attention over here. So on click of edit, you can see user ID is over here. Correct? Now, if I click on add new, you see 0 is there. So if it is 0, we need to show save user, otherwise update button. Fine. So we need again at the rate if condition. So condition will be if user object dot user ID is 0, we will show our save button. So this button we will showcase over here, and else if it is not 0 means we are in the update mode. Let's add warning color, and it will be update save user, and here on update function we will be needing. Fine. Let's just save and check if we are able to see both the buttons in different scenario. If I click on add new, you can see save user is coming. If I click on edit, see update button is visible. Fine. Now, and whenever we are done with save and everything, now we just need to reinitialize this object so that user ID will get updated to 0. So after save, this dot user object is equal to new user. So we are just reinitializing our object. Fine. Now let's remove this. Now on click of update, we have to manually update all the properties. So how you will update? So first you need to get the data particular object from your array. Okay. So constant record is equal to this dot your array name, that is user list, dot find, with what you will find, m dot user ID is equal to this dot user ID user object dot user ID. So from your array you are trying to get the record with matching user ID. Then here you will add the record dot city is equal to 1111 property, you will change user object dot city like this. Again, see, whenever you are using the find method, now always add a null check or undefined check only. If you got the record, means not undefined, sorry, then only you will do remaining thing. Whenever you use the find method, now always we have to add the undefined check. Just like in the local storage, we have added a null check, na? Like that. So record dot fname is equal to this dot user object dot fname. Fine, I'm not writing all the field, but you can understand. Just like that, you need to cover all the file. And on a click of update, in user use in this array, you are changing the data. Now, again, you need to run this line over here. Fine, let's save and check. And once you are done with the update, again, you need to toggle to your list view. So this function again, you will call over here also. And once you are save also, not that, then also you need to do. Let's save and check. So if I try to click on Rahul, so Rahul city is Mumbai. Let's make it Pune. And on click of update, see Pune is visible. Even if I refresh, you can see Pune is there. Correct? If I change Maharashtra, it won't happen. Still it is go up because in update, we have just updating 2 records. So just like that, you need to write the code to update remaining fields also. So this is update. Now the last part is remaining like delete. So delete is relatively easy. So on click of delete, you need to remove the particular record. So let's remove this href text danger class I'm adding, delete. Fine. So click event on delete. And on delete, what we will be passing, we will delete by user ID. So item dot user ID you will pass. Let's create this function. But on delete, you need to show that confirmation. Are you sure want to delete? So for that, we will use confirm box is delete. Confirm. What we need? Message. Are you sure want to delete? And if users clicked on OK, we will get true over here in this variable. If it is true, we need to remove. Now, user ID, we will get it over here. Data type will be number. Now, first we need to find the record. So here you can see we have done by using find. But from array, if you want to remove the element, you need to make use of that splice method. There you can use. So for splice, you need the index. So you will find the index. So index is equal to this dot user list dot find index. This is the method which you will use. This method you will get you the index of your element. M dot user id equal to the parameter user id. And here you will get the index. Then this you will pass to user list dot splice method. Index, which record you need to run, how many record? Only one. And after this, again, you need to run this piece of line. Fine. So this is your delete logic. You need to find the index, you will splice this. Again, this array, you are storing it. Okay. Let's save. Now, if I click on delete, see, we got the pop-up. If I click on cancel, nothing happens. Still data is visible. If on click of delete, if I click on OK, see, record got deleted. So we have completed our basic CRUD application. Now we will move towards the validation. So now in validation, where is our validation? Yeah, okay. So inside our template form, now we don't need .ts. So here we have to implement the validation. So how do we add the validation? So in every field, wherever you add the whatever the value you need, that wise, just like required, min length, that rules and regulation you will add. Min length at least 4 character. So on this text box, we have two validation, required and the min length. So first you need to create the hash property. So hash fname is equal to what you will store ng model, means whole thing, whatever the thing we have got in ng model over here, that directive value you will store it over here. Now this at the rate if, sorry, your hash property template reference variable, you can say hash property or template reference variable also, dot touched, you need to add the touch property, means user had touched this text box or not. Valid feedback instead of, let's say, text hyphen danger. So this div will go inside this. Now here we will require multiple spans. This is required, again minimum character, minimum 4 characters needed, right? So we have got two validation. Let's see first. On click of edit, see, nothing is visible. But if I touch, see, both the validation are coming because we didn't add any restriction. So let's add at the rate if again. Now name dot errors question mark dot required. If in my error I have the required error, I need to show this. Then just like that, one more if statement. Here min length and message will be this. Let's save. So now if I click on edit, by default no validation is there. If I touch, see, this is the required is coming. If I pass the value, second validation message is. Now validation message is also not there. So this is how you do the validation. Again, if you need to validate the form, means on click of, or you need to disable the form, disable the submit button. So what you need to do, on the form tag, you need to create one more value, form value. And here you will store ng form. So whole form value, you will get it over here. Now this template value, you will use it over here on property binding disabled dot invalid. So let's save and check. So by default, you can see button is disabled. But if I provide the proper value, wait, why come? Okay, so I think on all the text box, we have this required. So that's why my form is not valid. Let's remove everything. Currently, we have just added a validation on our first name only. Okay. Here also, let's save and check now. So by default, you can see button is disabled. If I provide these two values, still button is disabled. If I provide the 4 value, see, button got enabled. So this is also we have done. So I think we have covered everything what we said. Template form, if else, property binding, validation, and local storage. Right? So again, if you want to advance it, now see, whenever you appear for the machine test, company will provide you basic things like this is what you are expected to do. But always So even if they didn't mention the validation, you need to do it. That is very expected behavior, that you should validate your form. After that, now what you can do, you can have a single text box over here. On change of that, you can filter the record also. That also you can do. Correct? You can have some glow effect, shadow effect on this card also, right? So that something will be unique, because as an Angular developer, we are the responsible to design the UI also. So whenever you are appearing for the machine test, it's your chance to showcase that you know the UI also, and you know how to write the proper code also. Correct? Again, if you see the code, let's just optimize the code. So this local storage key value, you can see we are using it at the 4 time. So instead of that, you can create a variable local key data type string equal to this value. You will move it over here, right? Now wherever you need the variable local storage key, you will use this variable. So this looks very proper. Got it? So that you are not repeating your code like this. Again, one more optimization we will do. Now see this local storage dot set. How many times we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 times. So instead of that, now what we can do, you can create a method store data, and this particular thing we will move it over here, and wherever we need to store the data, we will call this function. So again, we have removed our duplicate code. Got it? So this is how your code should also work properly over here and over here. Got it? So this is how your code should be looking like. So this is very basic example how you can do the local storage card, either local storage or session storage, right? So this is how you can do. Again, if you want to, what do we say, make it advanced, this storage thing, you can move it to the service also, and you can call that function over here. So many things you can do. So whenever you are doing the machine test, try to do whatever possible, so that you will be apart from other candidates. Fine. So that's it. If you're new, please do like and subscribe, and please do join WhatsApp link also. I have provided in my description. So we are taking so many live sessions. To just get the notification of that, just join that WhatsApp link. Thank you.